Hello and welcome back to Season 2, Episode 16 of Pilates with Marilyn. My name is Marilyn Harder, Pilates instructor and Pilates master trainer. Today, all we're going to need is your body, mat, and gravity. We're going to be working through shoulder mobilization and hip mobilization and coming back to the basics of our self-care. So with that, let's go ahead and lay on down on our mats in our supine position. That means on our back, gazing up at our pine trees. So let's shimmy our shoulder blades back and down, finding that connection with the earth where those shoulder blades are nice and flat. And we'll go with our Pilates breath, big inhale in through the nose. Feel those ribs expand back into the sides. Pause and hold. Now exhale, blow out all that air, 1,000 birthday candles. Feel those ribs start to draw together and down towards the mat against the activation of the shoulder blades. Let's go again. Big inhale in. Take notice of any tight or sticky spaces in your rib cage. Exhale, blow out all that air. Find that core activation. We're going to go ahead and go one more. Big inhale in through the nose. And exhale all the way out the mouth. We're going to start with some arm scissors. We're going to take that right arm and we're going to keep that shoulder blade flat against the mat, taking it up as far as we can go without popping that rib cage again. Take another good inhale there. And exhale, we're going to switch arms. Keep those shoulder blades flat against the mat. Shoulder back and down. Take a big inhale there. And exhale, switch the arms. So as we do these arm scissors, the goal is to keep the shoulder blade exactly where it lives. Take another big inhale in. Maybe a soft touch to the rib cage, making sure it's not popping and flaring. And switch. And take a nice, good deep breath. And then we'll bring our hands back down. We're going into some arm circles, taking those hands up and over our head. Same thing, we're going to take a nice inhale in. Pause when we feel like we're at our end range before our ribs pop and flare. And then we're going to exhale, circle those arms around, bringing those arms around and down by our sides. Reset those shoulder blades if anything popped, and we'll go again. Again, pay attention to the right and left side independently. Is there a moment where one feels like it wants to disconnect? Find the range independently before you begin to circle, palms up towards the ceiling, trying to arrive at the mat as soon as possible. Now, the key to our scapular stability or shoulder stability as we do our Pilates practice is our mobility. What type of mobility do we have within the shoulders? Do we know where our personal end range is? Do we tend to push beyond that end range? And we're going to reverse it. Palm flips up. Start to take it open. Now, I said today we're also going back to our basics of self-care, the basics of being our most authentic self. So our direct happiness and success in this life is being authentic to who we are. Are we one who tends to take things to the end range of motion, filling up our buckets of to-do lists just to have them full, becoming too busy to even realize what is it that makes us feel most happy and authentic? Go ahead and finish this last circle. I can feel a good mobility within my left, a little bit of stickiness within my right. All right, we're going to continue this mobility in telescopic arms. So let's roll over to the side. You can go ahead and support your head in any way. I'm going to work on my deep neck flexors here and just allow my head to be supported in space. I like a yoga block or a pillow underneath the head if this feels like too much for you. All right, making sure the hips stay stacked, ribs stay stacked. We're going to take that top arm. We're going to start to slide it forward. The goal is to feel the stretch behind the shoulder blade without letting those hips follow. And then we'll go ahead and slide it open and across. Again, keeping those legs stacked upon each other. And we'll go ahead and open out wide, taking a nice, good deep breath. Folding it back in and sliding it back forward. And you may feel a release within the chest. Take that hand forward. Oh, I like to guide my eyes and really keep that shoulder back and down. Find that inner thigh squeeze, and we'll slide it back open again. I want you to pause with that shoulder open, squeezing those inner thighs, making sure that the low back is stable. You want that rotation to come up from your upper thoracic spine, so your upper rib cage, and just feel that stretch in front of that left shoulder. Draw that shoulder back and down. Pull the rib cage in, find your Pilates breath. And we'll go ahead and telescopic back forward, and we're going to take it around like a clock. Imagine a clock face on the ceiling. We're going to sweep that arm up, keeping that shoulder drawn back and down. The whole time we're thinking, where does my shoulder blade belong? Where am I rotating at? Not from the lumbar spine, low back. We want to be rotating from that upper back. I like to really squeeze those inner thighs in together. Feel that great stretch. Shoulders draw back and down. Pause if anything feels sticky or tight. And we're going to reverse the other direction. This is an excellent way to wind down in the evening, releasing any of the stress and tension we tend to hold into our upper body. And we're going to be doing something very similar to the hips here in a bit. All right, we're going to go one more circle, and then we'll roll over to the other side. Oh, it feels so delightful for me. I can just feel everything hydrate and release. Let's come up, swing over to the other side. So as we move our joints, we are releasing synovial fluid within that joint. So it's hydrating the tissues, making them more pliable. So again, make sure that your hips are stacked. We're going to take that top hand, slide it forward, find that stretch behind the shoulder blade, and then slowly slide it back, taking it open and across, squeezing those inner thighs in, unfolding and release. And then take a good inhale and exhale. Fold that arm back in and slide it away. So finding that thoracic tug of war, that space in which the ribs against the shoulder blades connect, is going to keep our upper trunk in our best possible alignment, which is going to help keep that shoulder blade into the best possible alignment and really release in the most optimal anatomical way. So remember, this is our stretch. Make sure you're not rotating at the lumbar spine. The ribs are drawn in. We're just going to take a couple good deep breaths. Draw that shoulder back and down. Last breath. Go ahead and fold that arm in. We're going to sweep it forward, and we're going to take it around the clock. Inner thigh squeeze. We're going to sweep it up. Allow the arm to naturally rotate while keeping that shoulder back and down. Allow your eyes to follow. Pause if anything feels sticky. Going a little slower through it. Now that is our second basics of life. How can we ever know what our most authentic variation of self is if we do not pause, if we do not embrace the rest? It's in the moments of quiet, in the moments of reset, in the moments where we're feeling uncomfortable because we don't have the next thing in line in which we can be most authentic and honest with ourselves. Let's take it the other direction. That's why we always really enjoy vacations or even staycations or even our weekends, because they're time off of the go, go, go. And it's a time to reflect, rest, and revisit what makes us happy. Now, sometimes what makes me happy is just having digital downtime, having a movie marathon. And those are the times I know that I need to be more grounded. Digital grounds me. But it's a very fine line between grounding and enveloping. And let's bring it all the way around. And we're going to go ahead and roll over onto our backs. All right, we're going to experience those arm circles again one more time. And let's find our good neutral again. Shoulder blades back and down. Let's find that neutral pelvis, little pelvic rock with the exhale, closing the ribs. Inhale, roll just to neutral. And exhale. Now let's inhale to neutral. Pause and hold. Take those hands up towards the ceiling. And let's slowly take them into circles. I believe so many of us go through life never realizing what is it that lights up our soul. And we're continually asking the question, well, what does make me happy? And often we get very conflicted answers within our soul, like feeling a gas pedal and the brakes at the same time. What is it that makes us feel fulfilled? Is it our job? Is it not our job? Is it parts of our job? Is it our family? Is it our home? Is it our creative outlet? Let's reverse. I'm feeling so much more open right now with my arms. So the key to finding those things that feel very authentically you are the moments of quiet. All right, we're going to go ahead and do the same now for the hips. So I'm going to start by extending those legs, and we're going to just try and squeeze and release the hip joints. All right, so finding that neutral connection, I want you to externally rotate the knees and then squeeze through the glutes. We're just giving the hips just a little bit of a stretch in through the adductor and the hip flexors, and release, and then internally rotate and release. So I have really fun hips. And with my fun hips, I found that if I do this when they're feeling extra sticky, they're more prepared for the work. And they're more prepared to work together as a team versus my dominant muscles wanting to take over, cramping, and causing more fun for my hip. I have a penchant for an inner thigh groin pull on my right side, my more fun hip, if I don't pre-activate. Okay, we'll go ahead and finish our last little internal rotation here. And then we're going to go ahead and walk our feet in. All right, so we're going to find an imprint real quick. Bring our better knee up. Just give it a little touch, and I want you to start to hug it in. If you feel a pinching within that hip, don't pull it any further. We don't want it to feel like it's getting pinched in the barn door. And I want you to circle it around. So this is an assisted circle, and I want you to feel that shoulder blade draw back and down. And if you can't quite reach, a really great way to do this is hooking a strap around the knee or around the foot and guiding it around, holding that strap so you can wrap it around and you can guide the entire process. Now let's go ahead and reverse it. There are some times with my fun hip that if I pull it in too hard, it feels like something got pinched in a door jamb. Like it does not want to fold in completely. And that is one of the ligaments, inguinal ligaments specifically in my body, that's tight. And let's finish that last one. And then we'll set it down. Okay, going in for the other side, draw that knee in, find that knee, and let's go ahead and pull it in until you feel any sort of pinching. That's when you're going to stop, and then we'll circle it around. So in this first assisted circle, you want to start to pay attention with what your body is speaking to you. My left side felt pretty fluid. My right side is feeling a little rigid. And by that, I feel some resistance on that inner thigh. And I know when there's resistance, my body is trying to protect it. So I have to let go. Let go of your resistance. That is some of the best life advice. Go the other direction. When there is something happening in life that feels sticky, stuck, you wish it wasn't happening, release into it. Allow it to flow like a river. It doesn't mean that you can't swim ashore when there's time for action, but when the current is just pulling you and there's nothing to be done, release into it. Accept that it's occurring and ride it through. That's when we really realize our strength. All right, let's pull it into a figure 4 stretch, first leg, and we're going to really push that open for a moment. Dive up, grab the knee, give it a good stretch. Again, you can do this with that TheraBand. I like to roll into ankle circles. So what's the value here of a release? It's a reset. It allows our body to come back to our best neutral. A reset spiritually, again, is the same thing, allowing our soul to come to our best neutral. And let's lay it on down, cross the other ankle over the other knee, and we'll do the same. Take a moment, just press it open. I'm feeling a little resistance. So you may decide to just hold it there. Let's see if this is available without any pinching. Yep, feels okay. So explore. When we have really tight muscles, it inhibits our ability to fire up the oppositional muscles. So in Pilates, the goal is to always have a co-contraction of one side versus the other. So if you're feeling resistance, chances are you're not activating into the best opportunity into your practice. All right, let's go ahead and do that one more time. Pick your tightest side, and let's go ahead and release out that imbalance. And for me, I like to still roll the ankles because that's where I get really that subtle release down the outer IT band and into some of the deeper 6 rotators of the hip. And it feels like I'm unplunging my hip. There's creating some space there. We're going to be going into one leg circle here in a moment, which is work, but I find that the freedom of the movement feels amazing when I'm done. All right, flip the palms up towards the ceiling, press the hands down. Let's put our most solid leg up towards the ceiling. Now, I like to keep my knee bent, and I'm going to make them small and controlled versus large and mobile in this particular version. So lowering it down. Now try to keep your opposite leg stable. So we don't want to take it so wide that the opposite knee needs to butterfly open. Just press through that same arm and allow that femur to independently move within the hip joint. If you feel like you're fairly stable and you just want to make sure that your hip joint is stable, you can take your hand and place it into the hip crease. Now, if I push through my elbow and touch into the hip crease, I get the best of both worlds, the stability of my arm out wide and the tactile touch. Let's reverse it. So one leg is easier than the other, and my range from one leg is bigger than the other. And that's okay, because we're going to be doing a second set like we did on our stretches to work out the imbalances from one to the other. And then let's go ahead and set it down. All right, other side. So I started with that strongest leg. Let's go ahead and lower it. And I find in life, starting from our strongest, authentic space, something we know to be true about ourselves and our happiness and our authentic joy, will lead us down the path of better mobility of places in our life that's stuck. So in our body, there's a relay channel. And so neurologically, when we do something on our good side and then follow up with our not as good side, our mind already knows what to expect. So there is an increase in our ability to be successful on our less optimal side, or our, I don't like to say weaker. Let's see, what other word would I like to use? Maybe imbalanced side. There, I like it. I like to speak positively to my body. So our imbalanced side, set it down, has the ability to pick up or learn from our strongest side. So let's take our toes to the mat. We're just going to work some things out here for a second. Take your arms out wide. We're going to allow the knees to fall to the left, eyes gaze towards the right. Use the obliques. Now we're going to draw the hip back down using the abdominals and up and over to the other side. So if we take that same lesson into our emotional spiritual journey, if we lead with something that makes us happy, it brings pure joy to us in the times of rest, in our search for what makes us authentic to ourselves, we know how it feels within our body, how we emanate the joy. Then we can measure each and every other thing that felt confusing against that joy. And if it's not a yes, it's a no. All right, we're going to do a second set of those leg circles on your fun side. So I'm going to send my right leg up again and really find that connection. And I'm going to go ahead and go again. So hip clicking, popping, cracking, and resisting are all signs that you're trying to push through something that's not authentic. So start to notice what those things are in your spiritual emotional journey. For me, feelings of anxiety, dread, these should be big red flags, right? But they're more subtle. It's more subtle, like, that doesn't sound so subtle, but it is. It's more subtle. Feeling fatigued when you have to go and experience it. Let's go the other direction. It is all an internal resistance that we have to start paying attention to. We've got two more. And the last one. And we'll go ahead and bring it on in. All right, let's go ahead and butterfly those knees open and just take those hands out wide. Close your eyes and just try to release every muscle in your body. See if you do have the ability to just let go. In through the nose, out the mouth. Now I want you to take a scan from the top of your crown of your head. Can you release your facial muscles, your ears, your jaw? Can you shimmy your shoulder blades down and see if you can relax the neck on the right side, neck on the left side? Maybe slightly shake your head from right to left. Allow it to settle in the middle. As you breathe, see if you can expand your rib cage from the right to left side even deeper. And as you inhale, you pause and hold. See if you can take in another little sip of air. And then exhale. Try to relax all the way to your fingertips, down to your hips. Are you subconsciously holding any resistance within your inner thighs, outer glutes, knees, ankles, toes? Notice where your mind is drawn to. My mind is drawn to the right leg for me. So my sticky hip, it's actually my sticky shin right now. So my shin's feeling a little sticky. That's going to guide my next step in my release. So for me, I would go ahead and release my ankles, release my feet, try and come out of that anterior tibialis. Maybe I do a little trigger point release that we've done on previous videos. All right, let's go ahead and close everything back up. Extend those legs, take your hands up and over, and we're gonna roll up. Now, if this is not available to you right now, you can go ahead and roll over to your side and come on up. Woo! I was not warmed for that one. It wasn't pretty, but I made it. And let's go ahead and release the side body. So coming into a mermaid position, if this is not available, go ahead and sit into a chair, come up nice and high. Let's take one hand up, get that shoulder back and down, and let's take a deep breath. As you inhale, grow taller and hold it there. And then exhale, lift up like you're trying to paint a rainbow without shrugging up to your ear. And side bend over to the left without leaning too much. And I want you to take a good deep breath there. One more. And let's go ahead and rotate our body down, looking down towards our hand, sweeping it there, open. Take a good deep breath into the back side of those ribs. Use your breath to mobilize your rib cage. Try and expand each of the intercostals, which are the muscles in between the ribs. Now come back up to center, and we're gonna open up and gaze up to the sun. Let's open up through the chest, and let's take a good deep breath into that front rib cage. One more. And let's switch to the other side. So I'm going to leave you with this thought as we finish things out today. I'm in what I like to call the time or the break between the storms. Let's take that hand up. Take a nice inhale in, find the length through the spine. And then exhale, side bend. There's been a lot of life that has happened in 2020 and 2021 that has really had me pause in a way that has not been comfortable. However, it's been in that uncomfortability that I've realized how much I like to stay in action. And how much that driven or that drive of staying in action is fear driven. Let's go ahead and rotate down towards the hand. Let's open things up, shoulders draw back and down. And if anything, this year has taught me that although action can do much, rest can do more. It has been unnatural for me to not have my next thing line up before I let go of the branch behind me. Sort of like a monkey swinging through trees. Let's go ahead and open it up. However, it's in this hang time that I'm realizing that I've been working very hard to try and create the next branches. But those branches are not attached to some foundations that truly would bring me joy and fulfillment. Sometimes those branches are there because they have to be there, and they're temporary. And go ahead and come back to center. Come to a butterfly position and let's release. And that's okay. They serve their purpose. But as the branches fade away, and again, you're left branchless in that free flowing moment of time, let's go ahead and roll it down, get a stretch. What is next for you? I saw a beautiful post about creating a relationship with work, a brand new relationship with work or family or education. And it involved a ritual that I thought was just amazing. After meditating and finding connections with self, let's go ahead and hinge forward. Finding things that in your ideal world, if money was no object, if time was infinite, if life gave you every single easy path to do it, what would that look like? And what would that fulfill? And there are some characteristics that just bubble up: freedom, openness, fulfillment, default to joy and peace. And you write all of these things down in a way that makes sense to you. And then you tie a ribbon over your door, whatever that entry point to your work, to your office, maybe to your home. And you spiritually and ritualistically commit to that newness, to not fill your bucket up just to fill your bucket up, but to only fill your bucket up with those that meet this criteria. And just as if you're breaking ground on something brand new, you slice the ribbon and enter, and that's your new you. And things that are meant to be there will come to you and you accept them. You don't have to chase down those dreams. So with that, I hope you feel wide open, reset, and brand new. And I appreciate you taking your time for your self-practice and mentally, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually with me today. In your physical body, self-practice, you are worth it. Join us at corporatehippieconnection.com for all of our lifestyle tips and tricks, and I will see you all next time.